Okay, we're about to go live now. Can I just welcome everybody to Nelson Committee for the 6th of July. In attendance, we've got councillors George Adam, Nadeem Ahmed, Mohammed Aslam, Mohammed Iqbal, Chairman Mohammed Saqib, Kathleen Shaw, Yvonne Tennant, Sheila Wicks, and also Co-op T Nick Emery. The officers, we've got Julie Whitaker, who's the area coordinator, and Alex Cameron, the planning officer. And we've also got police representatives from Stuart Shorrock and Holly May Pinder. The apologies I've got so far are from councillors Eileen Ansar, Tommy Cooney, Julie Henderson, and Asjad Mahmood. Thank you. Over to you, Chairman.
Right, thank you very much for that. First of all, you've already covered the apologies. Declaration of interest. Anybody? No? Can I take that as a no?
No. No.
Right, thank you. Public question time. We don't have anybody from the public, do we, Jane?
No, nobody today. No.
Right, that's fine, is that. The minutes of the last meeting?
Move them.
I'll move them, Chairman.
Right. Is everyone happy with that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Shout your name if you're not happy with it.
Mr. Chairman, Nadeem. In terms of the reopening of the town centres, it's got my name down. I don't think we gave a name at the meeting, but it's actually Councillor Mohammed Aslam instead of myself.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Aslam did attend the meeting we had a couple of weeks back, so that's fine, is that. Happy with that. Yeah, if everybody's happy with that, then we'll move on to the item 4, progress report.
Okay, Chairman.
Just 1 second. I'm looking for something regarding Walverdon Park, if it's there. Councillor Zafar is always asking us. Nothing is there. It's not there. I don't see it. Right. Okay. Right, that's fine. Move that. Noted. Yeah. Item 5 matters. We do have obviously police inspector with us today. Sorry, I didn't catch the name. Jane?
Sorry, it's PC Stuart Shorrock and PCSO Holly May Pinder.
Right, okay. If they want to come in now.
Hi, sorry, it was just breaking up then. Hello, I'm PC Stuart Shorrock. This is PCSO Holly Pinder.
Hi.
We're the Nelson local officers for Nelson, covering Clover Hill, Wolverton, Southfield, Marsden and Whitefield and the town centre. As you're aware, policing looks a lot different during the lockdown. We haven't been having as many face-to-face interactions with people, just because of the government guidance. Overall, crime in Nelson compared to this time last year has reduced, mainly obviously because of the pandemic we've all been in. The regards to burglaries are down quite a lot. We have had a number of increased reports of antisocial behaviour, but that's mainly due to people reporting gatherings. Sorry. In respect of the issues we're going to be focusing on this month in the area of Nelson, is we're having a lot of complaints regarding Wolverton Park with drug dealing and also drug users and potentially drugs being left inside the park. So we are doing a lot of work around that. We're going to be having a number of visibility patrols in the area, and we're also looking to get our dog patrol involved in that, which will will really help us really try and locate these reports of drugs being left in the park. We'll also be focusing on the ASB issues on Newfield Drive. I know Holly's been doing a lot of work and she's going to talk about that and what she's done.
Yeah, I've been working with, well, I've had a meeting with the housing officers, which is Louise Jackson, Julie Delaney, and we spoke about how we can improve the area, how we can reduce ASB, because it's not just youths gathering, it's tenants. So Louise Jackson is working with one of the tenants because he started drug taking and drug using and drug dealing, and he's causing a lot of noise disturbance. The partners will be working with his Land Pack Madbid, which are there to fund things like lights, etc. And then we'll be working with the council, the housing officers and environmental health due to the noise disturbance. It won't happen, and that this is like to reduce crime, nuisance disorder and increase public satisfaction with the residents. We also look at a community clean-up day, so we get volunteers within that community to do a clean-up day, which is like just basic things such as painting and weeding. But yeah, we hope to do that within the next 4 months, really.
A lot of our time also this in the next couple of months, we're going to be focusing on a new initiative we have, which is Lancashire Talking, which is a tool to identify issues that matter most to the community, where we will be going and visiting hopefully every street in Nelson, speaking to residents. They can fill out a quick survey with us, and it gives us an idea of what the main issues are that we can focus on throughout the months, and we'll be able to speak to them, update them as to what we've done, what we've been doing, and obviously they can pass us any more information or any further issues that we can look at. This is again going to be over the next few months, as well as our Meet the Team initiative. I don't know if any of you have seen on our Facebook group where Inspector Borst has already put himself on there, introducing himself, and we're going to do that for each neighbourhood team. So I'll be on there at some point, and so PCSO, Pinder and everybody else we have. And just before I finish, sorry, I'll just like to mention we've got a new PCSO Baron who's going to be dedicated to the town centre and Whitefield area. Obviously we're starting to kind of come out of lockdown now, so he's going to be more visible in the town centre, introducing himself, and if anyone has any obviously complaints, they can raise it with him and we can look at what we can do coming out of lockdown. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you very much for that. Anybody? Mr. Emery, obviously you'll be happy to hear that there's going to be an officer in the town centre.
Yes, we haven't had any police presence for quite a while, so yes, we'll be happy about that.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody wants to raise any question to PC?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question, if I could, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've had some incidents where quad bikes have been going up and down Walton Lane, on Mosnell Road North and through the park. They have been reported by residents and by myself, and I'm just wondering, have we moved any further forward on that? Have we apprehended anybody or anyone been cautioned?
We're aware of the quad bikes. We seized one a couple of weeks ago. Holly's also.
Yeah, I'm doing work on a bit of an operation, so it's going to be myself and PC Lunny, who's based at Colne. We're looking at speeding vehicles, uninsured, untaxed, people driving whilst on the mobile phone, stuff like that. We're going to have a 3-day op where we work with partners such as VOSA, Community Road Watch and DVLA, and we're going to target them over a 3-day period consistently throughout Pendle. Meanwhile, we do look at quad bikes. It's difficult when they're reporting it. If they don't have registrations, they're normally gone away by the time we get to them. So we're trying to knuckle down on registrations and then we can combat them properly.
Yeah, that's been the problem. Several weeks ago, there was some quad bikes riding on the pavement on Mosnell Road North, outside Castercliff.
Yeah.
That's right. They were going through to Southfield Street as well, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and they were also basically throwing water at pedestrians that was walking past. That's when I got notified, and that's when I rang the police in regards to it.
Right. Like we say, we are aware of the issue. It's a case of we have to, obviously, we get the reports and then we have to try and locate them. And often, if we do come across them, if we can't get them whilst they're stopped, then we struggle catching them because they'll go off road, and then it becomes a pursuit, and then we're obviously the safety to the public as to whether we pursue. But any quad we stop or a person on it we speak to, it is dealt with.
It also, I think, is very weather dependent. You don't really catch them out in the miserable weather. It's always when it's warmest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Yes, thank you.
Hi, George. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. There's a lot of concern about these paving stones that's going missing from back streets. There's quite a lot going. Now, they must be going somewhere, and they want a big area to store them in if they're keeping them. Now, do the police know of anybody who's buying these things, or, you know?
What area, can I ask what area?
Every area. All the areas, Wolverton, Clover Hill. They're the stone, the paving stones outside the backyards.
Yeah.
Right. I'm aware of obviously paving stones being stolen, but I'm not aware of, for example, a pattern or it occurring consistently.
It's just random. It's just random. I mean, they've taken some from round St Paul's Road in Wolverton. They've taken some off back of Beaufort Street, side of me.
And has that been recently?
This is just recently, yes.
Recently. Okay. So can I ask what streets that were? Because I'll look into that.
Back of 110 Beaufort Street.
Yeah.
Back of St Paul's Road, facing the cemetery.
So that area.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Back of 24 Dover Street.
Dover Street.
Dover Street.
Yeah.
Right. I was just wondering, have you access to my email with regards to this coming into this meeting?
Well, I'll get it through the committee section.
I'll pass that on so that I can speak about it and update.
Yeah.
Can I also report some paving stones going missing in the Walton Lane area, basically near Brentwood Road and Helmsdale, in that sort of area.
Okay. Do you know if it's been reported?
It has been reported. It's also been reported to LCC and all.
Right. I'll certainly look into it. I'll see what's happened with the incidents. And
I can just mention that these slabs, although they don't look very big, they may be 3 foot, 2 foot. They're worth about 70 quid a piece.
Okay.
Councillor Sakib, you've got 2 speakers waiting. Councillor Ahmed and Councillor Ali.
Councillor Ahmed first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, thank you to PC Shorrock and PCS Pinder for joining us and providing the report. Just a number of issues I'd like to just pick up on. First of all, the issue regarding the drug dealing. You mentioned Wolverton Park. I don't think it's just Wolverton Park. I think it's a wider issue than that. I think it's probably all the parks across Nelson, probably Pendle, and not just the parks. I think it's wide issue in terms of, particularly just focusing on Nelson. There is a huge problem across Nelson, and the drug dealers are using our young kids to do their dirty work for them, so to speak, and it's ruining people's lives. And I think it is a very serious matter. And you mentioned in terms of you're going to be going out and speaking to residents, and in terms of the priorities, I think you'll find, I think in most streets, that is one of the issues which does worry parents more than most issues, like and along with, say, speeding motorists day and night, causing a nuisance. So I think that is a huge problem. I understand, obviously, it was just mentioned in terms of Walden Park, but I think it's a wider issue. Can I just also pick up on, in terms of, you mentioned the new PCSO for the town centre in Whitefield. Is that replacing the previous person? How is that working? Sorry, I just need clarification. I'm not up to speed with this.
Well, as I'm aware, I started in February, but before Ryan came, I think that the town centre was covered by both officers from Nelson and Bradley, PCs and PCSOs. I don't think we had a dedicated PCSO in the town centre focusing on the issues there. So it's kind of a new role, really, new position.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. And can I just also pick up on the issue in terms of during the pandemic, in terms of your involvement and the police involvement in terms of the social distancing? For example, obviously the pubs have opened. I know there was an incident yesterday at the station hotel, on Saturday, sorry. Presumably, I think that was drink related. Not sure, but that's the information I've had. So in terms of trying to get people to obviously keep the social distancing, what sort of work will you be doing now?
Are you talking in respect of pubs reopening and bars?
Yeah.
With regards to that, mainly this weekend we provided a presence, making sure if there was any disorder we would deal with it. We were leaving it for the local authority and the local licensing officers to deal with the complaints received by residents or people regarding social distancing in the premises.
There's also been licensing visits to the premises, and they're all day Saturday. I think they'll be continued throughout the week to make sure they're following the guidelines that the government have set. I think an officer attended with them as well. So, but really, within all the pubs and restaurants opening, we can't be held to police every single one. It's got to be the owners and shop owners that have to, follow the guidelines, and if they're not, then we'll deal with that.
Yeah, and just one final point in terms of the point Councillor Adams made in terms of the paving stones. It's not just, again, it's a wider problem. It's happened in Whitefield. I can think of 3 streets, top of my head: Albert Street, Victoria Street, and I think it was Wellington Street. So we'll get the details and send the information through to you if that's okay.
That'll be brilliant. Yeah.
Thank you.
Picture as to if there's any specific times it's happening, and we can look at targeting people that way. With regards to your comments regarding the drugs being a wider issue, I know it is a wider issue in Nelson. However, there's not just us that are tackling that issue. There's the task force that do a lot of work around the drug and the county lines within Nelson.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you for that, Nadeem. Jen, who's in the queue? Sorry, I can't see him. There's somebody else in it, you said.
Sorry, it's Councillor Ali.
Councillor Ali? Councillor Zafar Ali, are you with us?
Oh, he's muted.
Councillor Zafar Ali?
Oh, he's gone now.
All right, okay. We'll move on.
He's disappeared.
Right, no worries. We'll move on to planning application. First of all, thank you very much, you guys, for coming and giving us updates on the other issues we have in Nelson. So if you want to stay with us, by all means, well, thank you very much. Do appreciate for you to join with us here.
Thank
We'll move on to planning applications. First application we've got in front of us is for dormer to front roof slope at 92 Bufford Street, Nelson. George, it's in your ward. I'll ask you to come in if you want to.
Yeah. Just the thing, I've looked at the plans on the website and I've looked at the amended plan. Now, on page 3, number 2, second paragraph, it says amended plans have been received showing a smaller rear dormer, though there are no front dormers visible from the application site. Now, there was no rear dormer on the amended plans.
Alex, is it possible for you to pull up the file? Alex? Jen, is he with us?
Yes,
yeah, I think you just unmute.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that in the report is an error. It is just a front dormer, no rear dormer.
Yeah, it's misleading, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I know they have amended it and made it a lot smaller. So I don't have a problem with it. I suppose it will go to development control or whoever.
No, Johnny won't.
Okay, so I'll be supporting the dormer.
Alex, you're raising your hand.
Yeah, my only suggestion on this one is that if the committee are minded to approve it, to recommend it for approval subject to amended plans for a pitched roof rather than a flat roof dormer, as the committee has before.
Yeah, I'll support that.
Right. Anybody else? I have 2 people who raised their hands, but I can't see who you are. Jane? Muted.
I know, I've just got Councillor Ahmed. No other hands up.
Councillor Ahmed first.
Yes, happy to second Councillor Adams. We have this regular discussion about dormer windows at Nelson Area Committee, but happy to take on Alex's suggestion in terms of the pitch roof. Yeah, so, yeah, okay with that. Thank you.
So we've got proposal and seconder. Is there anybody else who wants to speak on this item? No. Alex, can I ask what material is proposed? I'm happy with the Marley tiles.
So do you want that as a condition for materials to be agreed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a proposal to approve this application with amended plan, you said, didn't you? Yeah. And we have seconder, or with the condition that they have Marley tiles to all outside faces. All those in favor of Councillor George Adams' proposal, please. Can I take, actually, I'll go through this list. George Adam.
4.
Nadeem Ahmed.
4. 4.
Councillor Zafar Ali.
4.
Councillor Muhammad Amr. Jen, do you know if he is with us?
He had joined on someone else's name, but he doesn't appear to be here at the minute.
Right, not present. Councillor Ansar, she is not here. Councillor Muhammad Aslam.
4.
Councillor Cooney, is he with us?
No, he's not.
He's not. Julie Henderson, she's not with us. Councillor Muhammad Iqbal.
4.
Asjad is not with us. And Councillor Neil McGovern.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Muhammad Akib, that's me, 4. Councillor Kath Shaw.
4.
Hey. Councillor Yvonne Tennant.
4.
And Councillor Sheila Wicks.
4.
Thank you for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 people present, and all of them are in favour of the proposal from Councillor George Adam. If that's what you've got as well, Jane?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so that is approved. And now we move on to the second application, and that is a prior notification for telecommunication installation, a 20-meter slimline tower on Hajj House playing field at Regency Nelson. Since this is a Bradley Ward, I'd like to propose that we defer it till next month for further consultation with residents. So I'm looking for a seconder, please.
I'm happy to second that.
Sorry, I didn't catch who that was.
It's Neil McGowan. I'm happy to second that.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else?
Councillor Alex would like to speak.
Alex?
Hello. This application is it's a prior approval notification. It has a limited timescale on it. If that timescale expires, it's automatically approved. The deadline for determining the application is the 10th of July. The applicants have already extended that deadline from before this committee to allow it to come to committee. They did not need to do that. They could have just let the deadline pass and the application would have automatically been approved. So if the committee were to defer this application, they would be in effect approving the application, because we could go back to the applicants to ask for another extension of time on it, but they are under no responsibility to do that. They could just let the time go and it would be automatically approved. So the committee needs to come to a decision on this application today.
Chairman, can I come in?
Chairman, I've got my hand up as well.
Sorry, Jane, you have to help me. Who was first?
I've just got Councillor Nadeem Ahmed and Councillor Mohammed Iqbal, and then Councillor Zafar Ali.
Yeah, okay. Nadeem Ahmed, Councillor Nadeem Ahmed, you go first, please.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to actually second you, Mr. Chairman, but from what Alex has said, we have to make the decision today. So, I mean, looking at it, I didn't feel too comfortable in approving this as it was, but I'll need some guidance as to what reasons we could, as councillors, give, because I was going to talk about the health issues and the impact, but I understand there can't be reasons for refusal.
Through you, Chair. No, the national policy on this is that health issues can't be taken into account any further than the issuing of a certificate to the council with the application, which demonstrates that it meets the guidelines on emissions. If they've issued us that certificate, and therefore we cannot take health issues into account any further than that in determining the application. This is a prior notification application, so there's only limited grounds that can be considered, and that's siting and design of the structure. So the committee does have the option to take into account the visual impact of it, but nothing to do with health grounds or anything like that. Right.
Thank you for that, Alex. That's helpful. But so, can I then move refusal on the grounds of residential amenity because of the proximity to the residential dwellings and the visual appearance?
Can I move that?
Yeah, that's fine.
The grounds of residential amenity, again, that's something that it's over 50 metres from the nearest house, so there aren't
40 metres.
There aren't any sustainable residential amenity impact. But in terms of visual impact, that is something that there could be that's something that would be a sustainable ground for refusal.
So would your advice be to stick to that one reason in terms of the visual amenity rather than the residential one, if it was challenged in terms of our grounds in defending it?
If it were challenged, I wouldn't recommend the residential amenity one.
Right.
Yes.
I'll amend my motion and just include the visual amenity.
If I may say so, that it's not 50 meters, it says in the report 40 meters. And that is not just our officer's report, it is think developers report. And also, I think that 40 meter is the airspace from the top of the tower to the houses, not actually from the base of the tower, if I may say so, because I see a garden there, a bit of 5 meter gap, and then maybe 4 meter road there, and then the base of this Slimman Hall, the Slimman Tower. I can't see, to be honest with you, how they will come to 40 meters. It is very close to the houses. And the other concern I have is a lot of children play there. It's got a play area there, very well used. I mean, if I say so, I'd like to quote, I've seen even Councillor Nadeem Ahmed, been around here to see the play area in our ward. It's very heavily used, long way from Councillor Nadeem Ahmed's, ward. But people come from, far away, and it is heavily used. So I do have concerns. Councillor Iqbal, do you want to comment?
Chairman, I'm happy to second the refusal because clearly Alex is right. If we were to defer it, because of the way the government has structured the rules to favour the mobile phone industry, is really we're on a hiding to nothing. But the only grounds, and Alex has clarified that we could use, was visual amenity. I mean, the siting of this is in the middle of a densely populated area, on a playing field, next door to a community centre. So, it'll stand out like a sore thumb. Okay, I could go on talking about some of the health concerns that I've got, but, it's pointless because the government has told us that we can't even use those in terms of any refusal grounds. So I'm happy to support that we refuse this on the grounds of visual amenity. I mean, if it was at the top of a hill, then okay, one could argue to say, yeah, it's on the top of a hill, but it's in the middle of a densely populated area, Mr. Chairman, and I'm not comfortable with supporting approval, so I'll second the refusal.
Did I hear Jane, Councillor Zafar Ali wanted to come in?
Yes, it does, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman. I want to echo the words of colleagues, Councillor Ahmed, yourself and Councillor Iqbal, but I think it's also fit to mention that I strongly feel the approach that the government's taken with regards to these 5G towers, if I may, I will put it like this, that I believe it's scandalous to suggest that you can't look at the health effects and the health impacts. There will be so many areas where, unfortunately, residents' voices, unlike in this case, we have prudent councillors like yourself, Councillor Saqib, in your area, you've obviously liaised with residents. There will be so many areas where, unfortunately, due to a number of different reasons, residents aren't able to raise their voices against these masts going up for various different reasons, be it, as Councillor Ahmed has pointed out, residential amenity, or as others have pointed out, the visibility aspects. But I just think the general approach is scandalous. I want to echo the words of Councillor Iqbal as well, and I'm more than happy to support the refusal on this one. Thank you, Chairman.
Anybody else wants to come in?
Can I come in, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, definitely, Councillor Castro.
Right, I'm definitely against this. We had one going up at the top of Clover Hill, and we stopped that, and it wasn't even near any houses. This is ridiculous, and saying that health doesn't matter. My brother-in-law died of cancer all over his body because he went up pylons, mending them. Well, how come that it doesn't affect health? No, I'm against it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor. Anybody else? Right, okay, we'll go to vote now. Let me just get my sheet to record the voting. In favour of Councillor Nadeem Ahmed's proposal to refuse this application, I'll go through the list again. First of all, Councillor George Adam.
For.
That is for the refusal. Yeah, for. Councillor Nadeem Ahmed.
For.
Councillor Zafar Ali.
For.
Councillor Muhammad Amr. Is he back?
For.
Still hasn't. Oh, he's back. Thank you. Councillor Eileen Answer. She's not here. Councillor Muhammad Aslam.
For.
Councillor Khoon is not with us. Councillor Henderson not with us. Councillor Muhammad Iqbal.
For what?
Councillor Aschad is not with us. Councillor Neil McGovern.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Muhammad Saqib. For. Councillor Kath Shaw.
Why are they voting for? I thought we were against this.
Yeah, we're voting for Councillor Nadeem Ahmed's proposal to refuse it.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Yvonne Tennant.
For.
Thank you. And Councillor Sheila Wicks.
For.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Jane, I have all 11 present against the application. So this application is refused.
Okay. Good.
Is that okay, Jane?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now we move on to enforcement unauthorized uses. Is there anything? Yeah, land
Will it be noted?
cluster gate.
Will it be noted?
Yeah.
Chairman, can I just come in?
Yeah.
Just on enforcement, I know it might be linked with environmental plight on a separate item, but my issue is in regards to the ongoing situation at Vernon Street. It's the land next to the Unity Wellbeing Centre, which now I'm sure Councillor Adam will correct me, which I'd say coming close to 8 or 9 months now. The land is in a complete state of disrepair. It's in a shocking state, full of litter. There's now reports of rats and mice in that locality. And I've raised this issue on several occasions, Chairman, in regards to the enforcement action that needs to take place, at that site. I just fail to understand. I accept and I trust Alex will probably bring us up to speed with some ongoing planning matters in the background. I was informed by Philip Morsdale that allegedly the landowner was in care, and as a result, enforcement action couldn't be taken. Now, whilst I appreciate the sort of difficulties that the council may be facing, surely there must be other forms of action or some form of action that should be rightly taken in this area. Otherwise, we're just leaving this land to continue, creating problems for the area, creating problems not only for the area but for neighbouring and adjoining premises. The rats and vermin is gonna spread into the back gardens of the houses adjoining the land. I really plea with the officers to, number one, provide some guidance, and number two, maybe provide some form of action plan in regard to how this enforcement matter can be resolved, because it's simply gone on for far too long. You've got the Unity Wellbeing Centre next door, which is we will be, as a town council, we will be looking to open up in the very near future. And there's a heritage lottery project which is ongoing at the centre. It's simply unacceptable to have land in its current state next door and to be running a heritage lottery project in the community centre. I'm really sorry. We'll be a laughing stock, for people who are going to be travelling from outside of the area to come and view the fantastic work that the town council is doing. So once again, I really do plea, for the officers to assist us with some real form of action in regards to this issue, Chairman.
Yeah, can I come in there, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly with what Councillor Ali is saying. A 215 notice was served. I mean, it was posted on the site, and they were given so many days to get it sorted. And of course, that's months ago now. So and there's nothing happened. I know they've had this planning application in meanwhile, but that shouldn't stop the 215 notice from going ahead.
Okay, can I make suggestion that we send this item to Policy and Resources Committee, because our legal team will be sitting there and they can take it up from there. If they have to carry out the work and bear the cost and put the cost on the property, then we could, they could do that, I suppose.
I'd be happy with that course of action, Chairman. I'd be happy with that course of action.
Yeah. Councillor George Adam, would you be happy with that?
I'm happy with that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jane, please, can you make a note that this item gets sent there and they deal with it, please?
Right, okay.
Item 8, capital program. Can I ask Councillor Iqbal to come in?
Thank you, Chairman. In terms of the capital programme, can I move the following things? And I'll send the notes to Jane just for the record of the minutes. In terms of the underspends that are listed in paragraph 15 and 16, can I move that we deallocate those underspends and return them to the £3,207 from the Wolverton Back Street is back to the Wolverton Capital Projects item on the report, and the £6,680 is reallocated back to the Bradley Capital Projects. In terms of the overspends, which are listed on paragraphs 13 and 14, in terms of the whopping sum of £46 to cover the deficit on Athol Street, can I move that comes out of the Southfield Capital Project scheme, and the £499 from Whitefield to complete that work, that comes from the Whitefield Ward Capital Project scheme. In terms of the budget for this year, we've got a budget of 51,500, and then, Mr. Chairman, we've not managed to spend that £1 from last year, so I'm going to roll that forward. So we've got a budget of £51,501. Can I move that we split that money as follows? That we allocate £15,000 to the town centre grants scheme that this area committee has done so for a number of years, and then split the balance as follows. The wards of Bradley, Cloverhill, Southfield, Wolverton and Whitefield get £6,000 each as capital project money, and Marsden is allocated the sum of £5,501 for their capital projects. In terms of the new bids that we've got, can I move the following in terms of those bids? I'll go through them one by one. Highways improvements, we've got a bid for £10,000. can I move that we allocate the sum of £4,001 to that scheme and ask Councillor Ashton-Mahmood to work with the Town Council for the remainder of that funding. Over the page, we've got £1,500 for back 211 to 259 Manchester Road. Can I thank through the Chairman of the Town Council, Councillor Zafar Ali, to pass on the appreciation of this area committee to the Town Council for a chunk of that money and allocate that £1,500 from the Whitefield Capital Project scheme. The next one, £500, is for every street gully pots. That's come from officers. Can I suggest that we allocate that from the Bradley Capital Projects budget? The next one, Chairman, is Nelson Cricket Club, and I'd like to thank Nick Burton on behalf of the committee for contacting myself and yourself, Chairman, and also Councillor Zafar Ali, and sharing with us what their plans are for the cricket club, and also Kieran Roberts on behalf of the council as well for sharing and supporting this scheme. They've asked us for £2,000, and can I allocate £1,000 from the Bradley Capital Project scheme and ask the Town Council, who I understand have a meeting later on this week, to allocate the remaining £1,000, and I'm sure they will, so we can work with the cricket club to get that much needed space and eyesore cleaned up. In terms of the town centre canopies bid for £4,000, Chairman, last month the council were allocated this area committee the sum of around £20,000 to help you reopen the town centre. And I know that you've had your first meeting, and hopefully you will look to allocate that money before the end of the year. But I think as part of the reopening, one important thing is that we tart up and redo our town centre canopies and enhance them to make a further welcoming feel for people to come and shop in our town centre. So I'm going to suggest that we allocate £4,000 from the reopening town centre money to add towards this particular scheme. And then the one on the back, Chairman, the capital works to gable and rear end of Crawford Street. Again, approach to myself and you as ward councillors, and I'm moving that we allocate this full sum of £1,767, and that comes from the Bradley Capital Project scheme. In terms of the ward initiative money, Chairman, I'm not proposing to allocate anything this year because we've rolled over virtually most of the budget from last year because obviously we weren't having any meetings at the back end of the last financial year. So those items that I've moved, Chairman, will take care of the whole budget for this area committee, and hopefully somebody will second that.
I'm happy to second that, Chairman.
Anybody else?
Chairman, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
Just can I come in as well, Chairman? Just on a couple of points Councillor Iqbal's made in regards to the Manchester Road highways improvement. Duly noted, Councillor Iqbal, and I will take those comments back to colleagues as well. And in relation to the cricket club, you quite rightly mentioned there is an ongoing conversation with the club, with the town council, and I'm confident that colleagues at the town council will continue supporting the fantastic work from a social and recreational perspective as well. So yeah, hopefully that will be resolved as well. Thank you, Iqbal.
All those in favour of Councillor Iqbal's proposal? Sorry, I don't have the sheet, so I'll just go through the list. Councillor George Adam? 4. Councillor Nadeem Ahmed?
4.
Councillor Zafar Ali?
4.
Councillor Councillor Mohammed Ahmed?
Okay, we can't hear you.
Councillor Mohammed Ahmed?
I think he's gone again, Chairman.
Okay. Councillor Mohammed Aslam?
4.
Councillor Mohammed Iqbal?
4.
Councillor Neil McGovern?
4.
Councillor Mohammed Saqib? 4. Councillor Kath Shaw?
4.
Councillor Yvonne Tennant?
4.
And Councillor Sheila Wicks? Councillor Sheila Wicks? Sheila, are you with us?
Yeah, I think she's having problems with the muting and unmuting. I think she's saying 4.
Okay, thank you. So that's all in agreement with Councillor Iqbal's proposal for the capital program. Item 9.
Can I move we note it, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, everyone happy with that? Item 10, reopening of Nelson Town Centre.
And that's just for information as well.
Yeah, isn't it? Item 11, environmental blight.
For noting.
Can I just make a comment on environmental blight, please?
Yeah, Neil?
Yeah, basically, we're having an issue on Southfield Lane next to the little lay-by. A part of it is Lancashire County Council land, and the other part is on the Borough Council. Now, I've been on to Lancashire County Council for quite a time now, trying to get them to tidy up their land behind the fence. I am not having any movement on it. Is there any way that can, the council can help?
Councillor Keith, would you like me to comment on that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we'll take that away, Councillor McGowan, and have a look for you, and we'll approach County Council and see whether we can get any action on that.
That's much appreciated. Thank you.
And the last item, outstanding items, Lonsdale Street, resident-only parking scheme.
Chairman, I understand these are due to just waiting for the surveys to go out, because obviously of COVID-19 that wasn't happening. So if Julie can chase Sandra up just to get the surveys out through the post and get a response back, please.
Yes, that's no problem. As you say, we've just been putting those on hold for now, but it's an area where we're going to start up fairly soon. So I'll pass it on to Sandra.
That's for both of them.
Yep.
Okay. And Jane, can I request that we put another item on the agenda for next time? Anybody wants to put any item on the agenda for the following month? If we can have just a heading there, maybe, like under 13, item 13. Anybody wants to bring any item, to the meetings?
Through you, Chairman, you need to let us know what it is before the meeting. There's normally an item on items from which councillors want to discuss.
Right.
We don't have just an item and leave it till the day. So if you let us know before the meeting, we can add it onto the agenda in the usual way.
So again, what I mean is, if they let you know in a particular meeting, that'll be for the following month.
Yeah. Right.
Not for the same meeting. It will be brought up at the following meeting.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Thank you very much, everyone. Very much appreciated.
Chairman, sorry, you've got your urgent item.
Oh, of course I have. Sorry.
That urgent.
Right. I believe everyone's got this one as well. So this is proposed reversion of public footpath centre in Nelson at Marsden Hall South, Nelson. Can I look toward Councillor Ahmed?
It's Councillor Mrs. Kathleen Shaw, SHORE.
Is now exiting.
Okay, Councillor Shaw's left us now, so if you want to carry on, sorry.
Councillor Yvonne Tennant or Sheila Wick, I'm looking toward you. You guys want to say something? Councillor Yvonne Tennant?
Well, I'm here. Yeah, sorry. I keep trying to raise my hand and it keeps going off. It's not a massive diversion, is it?
No.
Looking at the papers, no. My objection to it says it seems to be a bit of an afterthought that everything's been put in place for the new house build and then it's suddenly like, oops, this is happening. But in terms of the actual thing itself, I can't really see a problem with it.
Alex, do you want to come in and have your say in it? Tell us anything.
Mr. Chairman, it's not something that I've been directly involved with. It's a report from Tom Partridge, so that it's all set out in the report and the plans.
If you like, I can just come in very briefly if that would help on this. Yeah, I mean the request here is to make the order, and there is still opportunity if people wish to object to do so as part of the statutory process. So it's not like it's just come right at the last minute, nobody has any chance. I think it's just that the informal stage hasn't been gone through because there have been a number of issues about finalising the design of the road, and until the design's been finalised, it's not been clear the exact route to the diversion. So I think that really probably accounts for why it's a bit late coming to you. But there is still the opportunity for people to raise any comments as part of the statutory process.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Any objections from anybody?
Mr. Chairman,
Councillor Ahmed. Oh, go on.
Sorry, I couldn't see him.
Yeah, sorry.
Councillor.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a silly question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So what happens with this diversion? Is the diversion works carried out first? That's how I've read the report, that the works are done straight away. Am I right, or have I misunderstood what happens? Through you, Chair, can I ask Julie?
Yeah, I mean the diversion can't take place until the new road's put in, because this is the work that we as a council will be doing to open up the site at Further Clough Head. So I think it's perhaps just the way it's worded in the report that the new road construction will take place and then the alignment will happen then. So there would have to be a sort of a temporary closure just to do the work. But I think, as you say, it's probably sort of slight confusion due to the wording and how it's set out.
So what would happen, Julie, if the members of the public objected to it? Obviously, they've got to be legitimate grounds. And as Councillor Yvonne Tennant mentioned, the diversion isn't significant. Would there have to be reasonable objections, or how would that work?
There is then a process where it has to go. They get submitted into the government, but I think it then would go to Secretary of State for determination. But what normally happens, if there's objections, then the council will negotiate with those objectors to see if those objections can be removed. And I think, as you say, it's just a minor diversion, so we'd hope that we'd be able to negotiate with them and get those removed to allow it to go ahead and the order be made.
And how long is that process? Because is that going to delay the housing scheme?
Depending on how long it would take to negotiate, which is always a bit difficult to tell. I mean, at the moment, we're still getting the designs finalised through engineers for that work. So we're probably talking 2-3 months before we'd plan to be on site. So I think we should be able to get through this process, hopefully, to tie in with that.
Thank you.
Chairman?
Yeah, Councillor Sheila Wicks.
Yeah. The development's going ahead, and I can't see any point in objecting to that particular planning application, so I'm okay with it.
Right, thank you for that, Sheila. Can I just call everybody's name and please say you're for it or against? Councillor George Adam?
For.
Councillor Nadeem Ahmed?
For.
Councillor Zafar Ali?
For.
Councillor Mohammed Amir?
He's gone off again.
Councillor Muhammad Aslam?
For.
Councillor Iqbal? Councillor Iqbal? Right, not present with us. Okay. Councillor Neil McGovern?
Against.
Councillor Mohammed Saqib? For. Councillor Kat Shaw?
She's gone, Chairman.
Sorry, she's gone. Councillor Yvonne Tennant.
Abstain.
Right. And Councillor Sheila Wiggs.
For.
Right, okay. That is carried with 1 abstention and 1 against. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in favor? Jane?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay then, that's fine. Well, that's the end of the meeting. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining the meeting. And we'll definitely meet next month. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Aye.